Hello everybody, welcome back to C&S Corvettes in Sarasota, Florida. This is your Corvette buddy Lyle here to talk to you about more interesting, fun, and exciting Corvette stuff. Before we get started today, as you know, every week I ask you to please if you like the content on the video, by all means hit the like button. If you'd like to be a part of what we're doing here, hit the subscribe button. And if you'd like to be notified every time we make new content, hit the notification bell, ding ding. Those things help me and they help you, and everybody wins, and it costs you nothing. So thank you in advance for doing so. I've had several different people in emails I've gotten and messages through comments on our videos and stuff ask me recently, when should I buy a Corvette? Now, that question can mean a lot of different things. What time of year? There's like 7 videos I could make about when you should buy a Corvette. Timing, financially, where are you in your life, blah, 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 all these things. So instead of making a bunch of different videos about that, I'm going to condense basically most of that stuff into one short video, just so that you guys have an idea. For all of you who've asked that question, I'm going to try to answer it in as many different ways as possible. Okay, so first answer, time of year. Now clearly, if somebody offers you such a deal where the car is a one owner with 20,000 miles and it's gleaming and you could eat off any surface of it, and you've known the guy for 30 years and he's got full maintenance records and he just needs money, so he's selling it for 50% of what it's worth, yeah, buy the car. But if you are actually just a normal shopper and one of these just, idiotic super deals falls in your lap, if you're just one of these normal people who's like, I'd really like a Corvette, what's the best time of year to buy? Well, I'll tell you, there's 2 answers to that one simple question. Number one, if you're looking for breadth of choices, okay, the most choices available, springtime is usually it. Not only in private sales, but especially in dealer sales. If you want to buy from a dealer and have some of the assurances that come with buying from a dealer, there are Corvette-only auctions that Odessa and Mannheim and some of the big wholesale auction houses put on across the country in like March, so that the dealers can buy their Corvettes for the spring, because everybody, spring is beginning to sprung and everybody is starting to get Corvette fever. Oh, I want a Corvette. I'm picturing myself driving with the top down, hearing the engine in the sunshine, even though it's still wet and drizzly outside. So your best breadth of choices is going to be in springtime. However, the best deals tend to be end of fall. Okay? Summertime's over, cruising time's over, and people are starting to think about Christmas. They're starting to think about vacations. They're starting to think about holiday travel, the bills from Christmas, whatever it's going to be. And if they've kind of had their fun with the Corvette, or they want to get something else, they'll get one through one more summer so they can enjoy it one last time, and then they'll sell it. And it's tough to sell a Corvette, especially up north when it's gray and nasty outside. So your pricing is going to be probably better when people are trying to get rid of the cars, not trying to sell them for everything they're worth like they do in the springtime. So most available, spring. Technically, usually best pricing, fall. Now, when should I buy a Corvette? Question 2. Depends on where you are financially. When you're in a position to pay cash for a nice car, you don't want to go out, unless you are a mechanic and have years of experience and have a lift and have all the tools, you don't want to go buy a project. If you want to have a Corvette to drive and enjoy and live that dream, go out and pay too much for the nicest car you can find. Because if you pay too much for the nicest car you can find, 2 things are going to happen. Number 1, you're going to be driving it tomorrow. Number 2, if it's really that nice a car, and if you've done your due diligence and you've had it inspected and you've educated yourself, odds are that car is going up in value, not down. Or at least staying kind of level so you're not losing money on it. Now, most of us who work for a living don't get to pay cash for cars. We have to finance things. So when should you buy a Corvette if you have to finance? you want to buy a Corvette when you're financing, that you're going to be in a position financially to not only make your payment with no problem, but to take at least 20% of that payment and do one of two things with it. Either add that 20% every month to the payment so the car gets paid off faster, and your interest you pay overall through the life of the loan goes down, and the car is paid off faster, so it's going to experience less depreciation by the time it's paid off. Or you can do the other thing, take that same 20%, make your payment, but instead of paying it off, let's say you got a great interest rate, okay, and you're not really worried about getting stung by high interest. Fine. Take that same 20% of the payment and put it in a bank account every month and forget it. Because that way, when something breaks, when your harmonic balancer goes bad, when your AC takes a poop, when your torque tube falls apart, you've got the money in the bank to pay for that repair, and you don't mind doing it because you planned and invested for that. When you have to put it on a 24% interest rate credit card, man, that $3,500 repair sucks. So that's the other thing. Those are the things financially you can do. I also highly recommend under the financial preparedness umbrella, if you're going to have a Corvette, you really, really need to have a place to keep it indoors. Now, I know a lot of people who live down here in Florida keep their car outside because, well, it doesn't snow and yeah, but UV light, the extreme heat, all of that stuff takes a real toll on Corvettes. And if you plan on taking care of this investment that you're making in any way, shape, or form, you want to have it at least under a carport, under a cover, somewhere where sunlight and things just can't get to it to mess with it. Ideally, you want an enclosed garage. Number two, make sure you have another car to drive. Even here in Florida, where we can legit have a Corvette as our only car, like a C5, 6, 7 Corvette, it's got the luggage space you need to go to Publix. You can throw a suitcase or two in the back, gets good gas mileage. We can drive that as our only car year-round down here. But you folks north of the Mason-Dixon line, you aren't quite so lucky. So you're always going to have another car, and you don't want to ruin your Corvette experience by financially strapping yourself having two car payments at the same time. Unless you're just making so much money you don't care, in which case, call me. I have parts you need. Number three, when should I buy a Corvette? Well, where are you in your life? If you've got two toddlers at home and your wife is currently expecting your next set of twins, probably not the best time to buy a Corvette. However, if you have the time to dedicate to curating the car, not just owning it. What I mean by that is, if you're in a position in your life where you can buy a Corvette, and I don't care if it's a $5,000 C4 or a $160,000 brand new Z06, if you can take the time to actually learn about the car, actually read and study the owner's manual, educate yourself about it, learn how to change the fluids, learn how to take care of it externally with the right polishes and all that stuff, curating, like someone who works in like a docent in a museum would take care of something. If you're at that point in your life where you got the time to do that, that's a good time to have a Corvette. Because not only are you going to really take pride in how beautiful that car looks and how everybody's like, man, that thing's awesome, it's protecting your investment, which is also smart. Number two, when you want more than just A to B transportation. I know a lot of people who spent their entire lives driving a 10-year-old Honda Accord back and forth to work because it just wouldn't break, it was paid off, and it worked every day. And it was inoffensive, but it wasn't any fun. So when you get to a point in your life where you are like, you know what, either I'm working more from home, or I don't have that big commute, or heck, screw it, I'm just going to drive my Corvette 3 days a week. Great. That's a good time to buy a Corvette. When you have enough free time to participate in the Corvette community, and that doesn't necessarily mean joining your local Corvette club and going and sitting in a parking lot all Sunday in a lawn chair arguing over where to go to dinner. I'm talking about doing things like the Corvette Caravan up to the museum every year, going up to Corvette Carlisle or Bloomington Gold, or doing Route 66. Doing those things in a Corvette with a group of other people in Corvettes is so much fun, and it's just so much more than driving a cool car and enjoying yourself individually. You get a little bit of everybody's joy in the group, and if you have time to do that, that's awesome. take part in it, because it's going to enrich your ownership experience. You're going to get to learn stuff from other people that you might not have known, which are going to help with step two, which is step one, which is curating the car. But here's the thing. When it comes down to it, nobody needs a Corvette. Nobody. There are a multitude of other vehicles that you can buy for daily transportation, for hauling kids around, for hauling your boat around, whatever, that are going to work far better than a Corvette. But a Corvette is less of a machine ownership experience and a lot more of a love affair. That said, tomorrow isn't guaranteed to anybody. Someday becomes yesterday very, very quickly. And I know so many people who, unfortunately, have come into my shop and they've been retired for years and they're in their 70s or 80s and they're finally ready to buy that Corvette, and they come in asking for guidance and questions and stuff. And then one day I don't hear from them for 2 weeks. So I call and I'm like, hey, are you all right? You know, oh, he's no longer with us. She's no longer with us. So they waited, because it was never the right time. And they never got to experience it. That's sad. So, yeah, I'm not saying risk your family's home. I'm not saying do something that is just incredibly financially irresponsible for you and the people you love. But at the same time, keep in mind, tomorrow might not come. So if you really want one of these cars, or you really want a Ferrari, or a Mustang, or a Miata, I mean, people do, don't wait too long. You also deserve to have something that you're going to be passionate about, something that's going to bring you individual joy. And you certainly need a car and deserve a car that as you park it and walk away from it in the parking lot, that you turn around and look back at it because you love it so much. Everybody who's a car person should experience that. And I hope you all do. Well, that's it for today. My name's Lyle from C&S Corvettes. I look forward to seeing you next week. You all take care and have a good weekend.